Yes. Good afternoon. My name is Krishna Kumar. I'm coming from a company called Maxus. Maxus is a part of one of the leading media conglomerate in the world called Group M. There are 5 media agencies in the company called Group M. We are into the media, advertising, planning, buying and implementation, digital and marketing company. So I was this is a WBB company. WBB is a wireless paper and plastic. That's an international company. It's one of the pioneers in the advertising field of the world. Under WBB, Group is in India. It is we are based in Bombay. And there are, just like I said, there's 5 agencies under Group. And we are, Maxus is the only Indian born company in Group. Rest all other 4 companies are born outside India. We are basically into media planning and strategy and marketing company. So we are also into strategy build-up, intelligent buying, data science, digital content development, and audience engagement, etc. These are all list of clients we have. We are into in terms of technology wise, we have Vodafone. In terms of FMCG, we have L'Oreal, e-commerce by Myntra, Redbus, Paytm. So various all national. Almost we are having a 42% of Indian advertising industry. I will show you a small AV. You will get more idea about what we are. that's about Maxus. So I'm sure you got a very small idea about our Maxus company. I'll tell you what the objective of this particular session. Very simple way. We have a lot of number of list of national brands with us, and expertise in this so-called in this startup as well as the technology. We have a division called Metalworks that's purely on R&D, developing new brands and new in technology, or whether it is any category we have. You have got a number of immense technological brilliant ideas with you, but the products are with you. Why can't we synergize? Why can't we come and meet together so that we can help you to brand, or we can help you to promote your brand in such a way that the world will know about your brand, as well as it will help you to take your business to the next level. That's the only motive of this particular session. So I will invite Mr. Harish. He is my colleague. He's the head of R&D division called Metalworks. He will explain you how startup ventures can work with Maxus. Harish.
Thank you, Krishna. Guys, keep it super short. I know afternoon session. First off, let me quickly demystify what a media agency is. Yeah. You all understand how an advertising agency works, right? You know, they build creatives on either on print or digital or as a TVC. A media agency positions that. Yeah. So we are the ones who will say this particular ad should come on this particular channel between this time band, or you are supposed to be associated with this particular radio show, or on newspaper front page, third page, this is the ad, or sleeve or something like that. So we are the guys who position that. That's our core at a core level how we do. And there's some of the terms that I came across: buying media, selling media. It has to do with this. Yeah. Now, when I say media, there are typically the 5 main ones, right? There's print, radio, TV. There is digital, web and mobile. Roughly around 4 years back, we came across this thought, okay, what next? If we are hitting web and mobile, I'm sure this is going to long tail into something absolutely new. And that's when we thought about Metalworks to look into emerging technologies. So we set up shop, and we got a whole bunch of startup guys together and say, okay, help us decide, take this to the next level. And that's how we became some of us come from a very, very strong tech background. I'm ex-product manager, SlideShare, one of the first 25 people at webguru.com, initial partners at Glitterbug, which used to be CoverFox. So a whole bunch of startup experience, probably my first proper corporate day. So very much understand, where you guys are positioned and how tough it is to, get from a paper to X number of failed products, then to a successful one, and then take it further. So we have seen that, we have done that, and we wanted to see how we can integrate the tech prowess, which like KK mentioned, into the other aspect wherein there's a whole bunch of brands with a lot of spends, and they're looking for innovation out there. And can these two, talk, connect, and see, what all can come out of those things. So we are headquartered out of Singapore. I handle the India operations. There's a US office being set up. And little pockets of hardcore techies within our wing, within a media agency. That's how we are set up. Now, what we began was close to 14 odd emerging technologies, Internet of Things, wearables, 3D printing. We started getting into the basics, 101s of all of them, and we tried to see how those can be applied to some of the core media requirements. Like I was just narrating that example. So we won the media mandate for flying machine genes, right? Now there is no reason why flying machine genes should not be working with drones. At some level, the connect is there. The creative guy could just put together, and suddenly there is a campaign, and that forms the core of creative technology, wherein you use the technology in such a seemingly interesting manner so that it creates stories and create campaigns, which is what media agencies or a brand is looking for. So we started building interesting, quirky solutions like that. So one of the coolest things that we did, or one of the campaigns which I love to cite, was for this movie, which I forget the name of the movie. So it has to do with transferring the conscience of one human being to another. And we got this very interesting brief on saying that, okay, how can you demonstrate this as a campaign so that it promotes the movie in a very interesting manner. So what we did was, okay, we thought, okay, if we had to show reanimation in some way or take control of somebody else's consciousness, let's see if that is even possible. And that's when we got into this R&D mode and found out, and we found that cockroaches have this very interesting tendency, like if you stimulate its right antenna, it tends to move left, and if you stimulate its left antenna, it tends to move right. So what we did was we put a small chip on top of the cockroach, which sends tiny electrical impulses into each of this antenna, and it has a Wi-Fi module which connects onto a phone. And on the phone we interface, we build two buttons, left and right, and we map the left to stimulate the right one. So you hit left and the cockroach used to move left, and if you move the right one, it used to move right. So we got the first part of it, okay, somehow we can demonstrate control wirelessly, but still it is not mind control, right? I mean, we are not there yet. And we replaced the mobile phone with an EEG headset, and we mapped it in such a way that you think left and the cockroach moves left, you think right and the cockroach moves right. So this is a typical way we approach campaigns. It's a short duration, high impact thing, in this case for a promotion of a movie. So this is one area where we find a lot of ways in which cool technologies can be interfaced to create these stories. And we are constantly on the lookout of what some of these stories could be. The other way in which we make a very, very deep understanding is that most of these technologies, they are all legacy brands, and so to create a brand takes a lot of hard work, a lot of years by you, and you build products, you put it out there in the market, and over years you create something that is a brand. A lot of them are on the forefront, like I used to Nike. They built the legacy to be a footwear company. They were one of the first people to get into wearables. They were also one of the first people to get out of wearables. They created a niche. They earmarked themselves as a tech company first, more than an apparel company. But there are other companies who have been there, and we are slowly seeing that technology is chipping into their core bread and butter. For example, I don't know how many of you have heard that Pepsi is getting into mobile phones. Now, it's not a territory which is actually where Pepsi is known to be. Yeah, I've heard interesting stories that Accenture is getting into jewelry space, and how it is even more amazing. They are planning to mine asteroids for finding interesting components which they can, and they are a tech company first, giving them the wherewithal to go ahead and disrupt some of the other non-tech companies and take that space. So what does it mean for some of these legacy companies? They have to get onto this tech bandwagon sooner or later, and that is one area where we felt we could create an impact and a big difference. So one of the things, if you look at the disparity between the two, we have startups on one hand, amazing on tech, some very, very cool things coming out of setups like this. And on the other hand, you have brands, preferably with deep pockets, a lot of, legacy built over time. So one has the brand but lacks the tech, the other has the tech but lacks the brand. And we do what we do best, which is make the connect happen with putting a big media layer on top of the whole thing. So when we take a startup and say, hey, here is a cool product which can work in conjunction amazingly well with your core entity, and we just don't make you guys connect. We put for this amount of money, this is the nature of communication that goes across multiple forms of media. This is the benefit that a particular brand can take away from this particular entity, etc., etc. So how many of you are aware of the Threadless T-shirts website? Threadless T-shirts? Nobody? It's a company based out of UK. They were one of the first guys to sell T-shirts online, and the way their model worked was very, very interesting. So you had a bunch of people who were artists, so they used to draw stuff. There's a community which used to vote on that art, yeah. And there's a T-shirt manufacturer sitting in between. So Threadless is a T-shirt company. The most voted T-shirts would used to get converted as, most voted art used to get converted as T-shirts. So in this trifecta, what used to work is that the people who are voting on the T-shirts used to get T-shirts of their choice. The T-shirt manufacturer used to make money off the sale of the T-shirt, and the art guy who presented the art in the first place, they got remuneration for the art they put out there. So three guys with three unique skill sets could come together and build a very viable ecosystem. And that is what Metalworks came out to do. We saw there are two people, the tech industry and the corporates, who don't speak to each other. I mean, they do try and speak. It's not like one of the routes that probably every startup takes is to see or validate that product, right? So you have built your prototype level 1, you want to take it out to the market. You absolutely try and, no holds barred kind of entry into all the people whom you can reach out to. But more often than not, what happens is that you meet up the wrong guy, and two things that any startup, as we all know, don't have the luxury of is time and money, right? So you keep knocking the wrong doors, and important parts of getting your startup off the ground is getting spent on. So we felt, hey, we are at the right spot, right? I mean, we are the guys who handle these clients day in and out. We are in a position to say, this is what you should do, and probably this year this is how your communication should reach out to. And we find the right set of guys, so we understand you, right, completely, 100%. So we can package you as part of a deal and take it out. Now, one thing that when we started the whole thing from the get-go was be very clear of the fact that, like I said, two things that startups are low on, time and money. And the thing was to ensure that your entry into all these discussions comes with completely no holds barred. Yeah, your products will speak for your own company that you're setting up. So we don't take money from the startups. Okay, that makes a lot of you happy, I guess. But that was the intent, right? I mean, if your product shows a lot of potential and value, the first thing that we do is map it with respect to our client list. And the good thing about being a media agency, right? I mean, we can't do verticals, you do horizontals. So we have like one automobile company, we have one health insurance company, we have one lifestyle company, FMCG. You name it, we have one of them. Yeah. So somewhere or the other, if your startup is unique enough, we can find a fit. And when that fit happens, we don't just show, hey man, work with this company. No, we put an entire plan around it. So in a way, we work as your extended marketing wing, doing it on a pro bono basis, saying that, dude, you guys got to do this. And once it hits success, right? I mean, at the end of the day, it's business. We all have to make money. You have to sustain, we have to sustain for the hours that we put in. So providing there is a success in this trinity, that is when we can discuss percentages and who makes what, how much effort somebody has put in or something like that. So that's the model we have been exploring. Good, luckily for us, it's proving out to be a model where we are finding a lot of acceptance. One of the big reasons that we are here today to take this discussion is to find out more of these startups and how we can get these collaborations going. And we are big on collaborations, right? I mean, we have tied up with Arduino India, we have tied up with maker spaces like Workbench projects, IoT Bangalore. So they are IoT Bangalore. How many of you have heard of it? Nobody? How many in the hardware space out of this group? Nobody in the hardware space? Oh, we have one. Okay, cool. So IoT Bangalore has been voted the world's largest meetup group for IoT professionals. I mean, I set out of Bangalore. A lot of magic happening there as well. Yeah. So I mean, you're brimming with talent, you're brimming with ideas, and again, our thought is, as any of you know, right? Almost 95 to 98% of the startups don't fail because they might not have a good product. It's just you're not meeting the right people at the right time. Lot of it, I could attribute 98% to good planning, great thinking, great execution, but a tiny bit of luck is always great to have on your side. And that part is what we are hoping for. We can bridge to validate your product early on and see how that can take forward. Yeah. So that's Metalworks and Maxus. Again, I was not planning for a session; it was more discussion. But yeah, I mean, we had an entire this on creative technology, on how to approach creative technology, and that's our core business. So one of the first things what we did, like a handful of us landed ourselves in the midst of business people, was see how we could demystify technology to them. I mean, these guys are inherently creative. I mean, they think of ideas for a living, right? I mean, that's how the nature of the industry is. So if you equip them with the right tools, they can come up with amazing ideas, and that's what we did. We replaced sensors and this with inputs and outputs. So we just had to tell them what is possible. So I can measure heat, I can make things change with respect to the light incident on it, based on motion. So microcontrollers, we introduced all this in a very, very demystified manner, and the outcome was amazing. And then we started on the reverse journey. Okay, if technologists can demystify tech, at some level we can demystify business, and if we could help startup, and I mean, come on, admit it. I mean, one of the things that we technologists do, before validating, testing, I know that hard part of ask four guys how my product will succeed or not. We know our coding, so the first thing we do is code, right? So it is easy to set up a blog, but to keep the content flowing is the tough part. And more often than not, we rather set up the blog first without knowing where the blog is headed. So, and more often than not, we have seen that. So, we want to do that other bit of demystifying business to you guys. We did some sessions at Mini Maker Fair, and time and this permitting, we'll be back with a much more detailed creative tech session. We'd love to see what the wacky ways in which technology can be used and how they can fit into the scheme of things. Yeah? Thank you for your time. Yeah? And good. All the best.
Any questions or any suggestions from you? We are very happy to hear from you. Like such a brand, global brand is there. Such a Kerala because I'm from Trishur.
I'm also from Trishur, by the way. My wife is also from Kerala, so we have a lot of things going on behalf of Malayalis there.
So, we set up international level expertise at a group of companies are there with us. And why can't we one step and then internally discussion.
And we have been working very closely with Startup Village. I don't know if you guys know some of these startups like Machine Gun and all those guys. So we have managed to give some amount of success to those guys, right? I mean, Machine Gun, for example, creates this OS agnostic touch table. The market exists in other forms, but the beauty of their product is that you can upload absolutely any OS onto it. And when Myntra was launching their revamp of their website, what we did was, so typically you take any touch table, you have to code the entire app back into it. Here you had an APK file plug and play, and suddenly you had amazing ways in which the app can be browsed in this bigger screen. So you could demo a lot more in a much bigger way. Myntra is happy, Machine Gun is happy because they can now go to a VC and say, okay, you know what, Myntra puts money behind me, now you put money behind me. So that part is where we feel, we can't help you with the funding part, but we can get you that teeny seed amount plus validation from one of the top corporates out there. I mean, that's a good start as any, I assume, if you have a strong product, funding.
We have preferred partnership with digital giants like Google, social media, Facebook and Twitter. There we
handle the media mandates of Google, by the way. So we tell Google where to put money. Yeah.
And there are in Kerala we have clients called Manappuram, Matrabhumi, South Indian Bank, BKC. They're all clients basically based in Kerala. Where also there is a number of opportunities we can think of it. For example, another client from Bangalore, cycle brand. So a lot of brands are on the pipeline where we are associating with a lot of startups in Cochin as well as in Bangalore, where Ningala expert Ningala product we can promote it in such a way we can help you to take the next level.
How many companies focused on data analytics and so we have an entire wing called Insights, which focuses purely on business intelligence, visualization, etc. So the mesh that you saw it's like a humongous war room where we provide real-time updates to clients. So yeah, I mean, if something is quirky, interesting enough, more than happy to make a connect happen and see how the discussion takes. Yeah?
Any suggestions?
Any questions? Nothing else? Sure.
How to contact you?
Sorry?
How to contact you guys?
I can pass on a card if you want. So I'll tell you how what our next set of discussions with the Kerala Startup Mission is going to be this. Especially if you guys found that this to be valuable, do let them know. But this is what we are trying to engage with, wherein a steady stream of, so like I said, the first thing that we do is map it, right? We'll try and help you in every possible way, but ultimately the fit has to happen. And we are trying to make as many fits as possible because on the other hand, the corporate circle, they are like starving for unique, newer ways to get out there in the market. But obviously the in-house, slower than you imagine. So we are trying to solve that problem. The next step for us will be to see create a structured way in which both of us can seamlessly communicate, get that next step rolling, and see some cool campaigns or at least a solution. Especially, I mean, the reason I especially look out to the hardware part of it a lot. So in case you have cool, quirky products which can be integrated to any of the whole thing, we are more than happy to look at it. That's where my, at least, domain comes into place. But yeah, irrespective, there is a whole very strong business side of it.
Where you can invest money, which media you can choose, what sort of brand management or what's the research we should do it for your brand, etc. etc. There are a lot of things we can work it out together if you're interested, or if your brand is need to like you are not going to get there.
So can you explain about the educational sector, how you can
Educational, okay. So again, see, there is no direct fit. Like, probably I'll give you an example on how a fit that you're not probably looking forward can happen. We handled Wipro, one of the products from there, and is Glucovita Bolts, which is a product which is looked for hyper energetic, enthusiastic kids, and typically the campaign happens during summer. Yeah, no, that's a great time to influence the kids or put out a thing. There is no reason why, if your educative is strong enough, there is no reason why they can't ride on top of it and say, Glucovita Bolts in conjunction powered by your entity present such and such a thing. Now, this is not something that anyone is thinking of. Lumos, how many of you guys have heard of Lumos? It's a backpack brand out of Bangalore, and they got a successfully funded Kickstarter for back called Aether. They are a company which only looked at cyclists as a target audience. We managed to plug them into Tata Tea because the connect that we did was your parents work out in the field and send their kids to school, and anyway these are schools which are open air and stuff like that. These are solar. This is the earlier set of bags which are solar powered. So can the kids who sit out power up enough for a power bank and give entertainment, which is way of mobile, back to parents, right? So the thing that could fit and what we needed was a bag with solar backpacks, which is exactly what Lumos as a company used to deliver. There is no reason why Lumos backpacks can't go with Hero Honda, another client of ours. Hero, not Honda. Hero Motorcorp. There is no reason why for a purchase of a bike, which is like say 80k plus, gets a $6 grand worth of a cool IoT wearable based device along with it free. Now, look at it, what's in it from the brand. The brand gets a story. The startup also gets a story. The brand says, okay, we are releasing this new with every purchase, so you have an incentive to go ahead and purchase that bike. The startup gets powered with or the entire PR machinery which Hero will be putting behind is also equivalently provided to the brand which is powering that particular solution. Now this is at a campaign level, right? And what if they said, okay, we love it, absolutely every bike that gets sold out needs one. I mean, you're looking at a production run in that case, right? So you never know, like I said, there's a big factor of luck in the whole thing. You never know which company says, oh, I love this so much, okay, let me go ahead and do a X number of units worth of these products. So that's why, I mean, something which an early stage startup can't afford to do is, validate it at a scale to understand if my audience is accepting of it. But if it becomes a quirky enough content which somebody else backs it, to go out in the market, you get the data on how it has functioned. You get to know, my initial set of production run is backed by somebody. You get a story which that you can take it back to the VC. So a lot of these pluses working in your favor if that is your route to market.
So how do you evaluate?
It's case by case basis. I mean, like your products are varied, right? I mean, 20 of them have 20 different ways. In some cases, there is no fit. Unfortunately, we can help you with, right? If there is even if it is not an obvious fit, and that's the good part, right? I mean, we don't give you off, after in this domain you're not fitting. We try and absolutely look at all possible surrogate domains in which you can get into also. That's where the creative angle comes, and that is where the media planner's main job is. Okay, how do I create that one story which you never imagined your product will get into? So, yeah.
What are you into? What is the brand? What is the product?
It's an educational product.
It's an education
product.
Yeah.
It's a lot of kids-oriented stuff like that.
It's basically starting from schools itself.
Okay.
They plan into other level of institutions.
Sure.
Colleges.
So a lot of FMCG brands can get on top of it, especially who speak to kids, right? Nestle, we handle Nestle. There is no reason why any of the discussions around Maggie, or you have seen, they have done it time and again to take that route to get out there into the market. If the entity, when you put this together, saying, and it has to sync with what their current mode of communication is going to be. So, glucovita bolts, I told you top of my head because it makes sense. So, it's centered around kids. Your product is centered around kids. What's the communication tagline? We look at all those elements, we see that fit happening, and then pick it up.
Or for example, we have a software brand, not software, education software brand is there with us. So we can also think of aligning your product with our how feasible it is the brand to align with my client and Kerala, something or in Bangalore. Anyway.
And it's a global entity, so that's a good bit. If it doesn't work here, we can obviously take it somewhere else.
So what are the procedures from here to?
So I'm hoping we are discussing that soon. Like I said, I mean that was the agenda of the meeting today. But I'm glad we could all connect and together. I'll pass on my card definitely. Do write to me wherever I can help. I can. No harm in getting kick-started. Yeah. Cool. All the best. Yeah.
So much nice meeting you. See you.